Morning.
Morning.
I would like everyone to stand for the posting of the colors. We're going to say our national pledge of allegiance. And we're being honored by the ROTC, Junior ROTC from Bloom Trail. So they're going to post our colors. Everyone remain standing.
Every colors. Ready, cut. Over, arch. Guard, halt. Present colors.
Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every colors. Ready, cut. Over, arch. Guard, halt. Order, colors. Ready, cut. Guard is. Aye, sir. Arts, colors. Over, arch.
Let me just, let me see. Let me take just a quick moment to acknowledge the members of the Junior ROTC from Bloom Trail. Carrying the American flag was Cadet Lieutenant Commander Eric Jurgensen. The P.L.A.N flag that you saw was Chase Nadine. The Illinois flag was Sean Wood. The Marine Corps flag is carried by Brigadier Russell. The Navy flag by Zachary Ayers. The Air Force flag by Louis Stock. The Army flag by William Jordan Joyce. And the left rifle, which you'll see in a few moments, is going to be held by Benny Palapino. And the right rifle, which you'll also see later, is Casey Culper. So I'd like you to give a round of applause for these young people. At this time, we're going to have our invocation by Reverend David Simonet.
Please stand as we place our presence in the Lord. O God of the spirits and of all flesh, who have trampled death and annihilated the devil, and given life to your world, may you yourself, O Lord, grant to the soul of your deceased servants rest in a place of light, a verdant pasture, a place of freshness, from where suffering, pain, and cries are far removed. To you, O good and compassionate God, forgive every fault committed by him in word, work, or thought, because there is no man who lives and does not sin. You alone are without sin, and your justice is justice throughout the ages, and your word is truth. Since you, O Christ our God, are the resurrection, the life, and the repose of your deceased servants, we give you glory together with your unbegotten Father, and your most holy, good, and life-creating Spirit, now and always, forever and ever. And, O God, by whose mercy the faithful departed find rest, look kindly on your departed veterans, who gave their lives in service of their country. Let us remember our fallen veterans, especially Roy Fesler, Ed Milker, Claude Nyman, and a special remembrance for a Sauk Village police officer who passed away last year on Veterans Day, Jason Gondek. Let us have a moment of silence and reflection in their memory. Grant that through the passion, death, and resurrection of your Son, they may share in the joy of our heavenly kingdom and rejoice in you, your saints forever. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate seeing everyone here to help celebrate Veterans Day. We've worked on this for a couple of months. We had numerous volunteers to help us put this together, so we hope it's an enjoyable evening. The veterans, you should have received a raffle ticket when you came in and you registered. Do not lose that. We need you to hold on to that for later on. At this time, we're going to ask that the Bloom Trail personnel come back out to give you a demonstration.
Presenting the Blue Trail and JROTC Trail Team. Order, arms. Out, order, ace. Ready, move. Order, arms. Up, right. Trail team, up.
Thank you very much. And I think you'll be seeing them at least one more time today. They did an excellent job. First, before we move on, I want to, someone might introduce myself. My name is Cecil Tate. I'm a trustee of Sauk Village. In my other life, I'm a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. And for all you Marines out there, I heard you in the hallway earlier, it's okay. We don't mind having you here, you're our guest. For the Navy guys, there's no water in Sauk Village for you to sell your boats in, but you're still welcome. And of course, we wanted to talk about it. So welcome, but let me acknowledge a couple of people. One of the people from Doom Trail, his name is Zachary Ayers. He was instrumental in really helping put this together. I think Zach is a Sauk junior, I'm sorry. But he was really instrumental. I'm sure he's glad Veterans Day is here because he doesn't have to get any more texts from me, any more telephone calls. He can relax. The second person I want to honor, I met in a Walmart parking lot. He was not solicited, but he was in a Walmart parking lot, and I want him to just stand, even though I know he doesn't want to. His name is Thomas J. Amsden. We know him as TJ. He's a petty officer, which means what? He's in the Navy. Petty officer first class, matter of fact. He served during the Korean War, and he was active from 1952 to 1956, and inactive from 1956 to 1960. He served on the destroyer ship, the USS Hyman DD-732. TJ received the Navy Occupational Service Medal and the National Defense Service Medal. And he was armed discharged in January 1960. TJ, could you walk over here for one moment?
Over there. Thank you very much.
And we have another honoree. Trustee Birch, you'll take care of that. That was Trustee Burgess that I just had a conference with. He'll be speaking more in about 20 seconds. So at this time I bring to you Trustee Derek Burgess. He's the sponsor of this program. He helped put it together. And I think it's admirable when a trustee just takes that voluntary step to honor our veterans. And he did last year also. So I'd like to give him a round of applause as he comes to the podium.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tate. I just wanted to, first of all, because I did it last year and I'm going to do it again this year, I have a mic that I have that I'm going to pass around that I want each and every veteran to stand, give their rank, and then also give what service that they where they serve and what branch of service. Last year we had all branches represented. I hope this year we can do the same. But before I go with that, before I get going any further, I still like to acknowledge, I like to get business out the way. I'd like to acknowledge those people that are here that are our own, in other words, and not service, but they're our officers and elected officials. I'd like to start first with the mayor. He's right there in the second row. Mayor David Hanks. We got Trustee Ann Myers next to her. And quite actually Trustee Tate. And you do have the fire chief that's here, Al Stoffrager. And in charge of Ezra right now, the assistant, Eamon Darnell. And also, I thought I saw the village administrator. Oh, where's the village administrator? Anyway, I don't see him, so I'm sorry. And, but those are our village officials. So now we can move on to get this program started. First of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys. It's a little bit bigger than it was last year. Last year was large, this year is larger. We do have a treat for each and every veteran. After it's over with, did every veteran get a ticket? You didn't get a ticket. Make sure you get a ticket before you leave out because you have dinner at Popeyes as soon as you leave out. So dinner will be on me at Popeyes. No village expense. I just wanted to thank everyone that came out, and I'd like to I will be acknowledging some of the veterans that came from a distance, and I will be acknowledging some of the people that actually had, I won't say actually because everyone had contact service if you was at the service, but to give their stories. At this time, I'd like to let you know about a young man that's near and dear to my heart. I knew him before he was born. I'm not that old, but he may look a little older. But anyway, I've known him. His dad was my best man, and his mom was like a sister to me, even though she's older, but she's like a sister to me. And I really appreciate her for coming out. She looks younger by the day. I don't know how to find out what she's doing to make that happen, but it's happening. But anyway, while not all service in our nation's armed service is glamorous, sometimes it is downright deadly. Our men and women place themselves in the line of fire to defend our freedom each and every day. On the morning of Thursday, October 12th, in the year 2000, the USS Cole was docked in Arden Harbor for a routine fuel stop. Around 11:30 a.m. local time, a small fiberglass boat carrying explosives and 2 suicide bombers approached the port side of the destroyer and exploded. Much of the blast entered a mechanical space below the ship's galley, violently pushing up the deck, killing 17 and injuring 39 crew members who were lining up for lunch. Our next speaker was on that USS Cole that day and during that attack, and he is here to share his story. So I would like everyone to please welcome retired U.S. Navy Petty Officer Eric Williams.
Out here. I'm gonna put this thing on. I'm gonna go over to it now. Welcome, greetings all the veterans. Hoorah to my army. Hoorah. Just like he said, October 12, 2000, that was the day that changed my life forever. I actually kind of knew I wanted to be in the military like my whole life. I saw Top Gun at the age of 8 and knew I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I just didn't know that I had to swim to do that. I never learned how to swim, but I joined the Navy, go figure. Went to Whitney Young High School, joined the ROTC program there. It was a Navy ROTC, so I got all the way up to Master Chief Petty Officer in the cadet ranks, in charge of about 150 students because we were just starting the ROTC program. Then, wait a little bit, joined the Navy. I joined the Navy June of 1999. And in October, I'm a Tomahawk Tech too. I shot missiles during that shock and awe part of everything. So we launched a couple Tomahawks. But that day in October, it was rough. Like you said, a boat pulled up on the side of us, and we weren't thinking anything of it because we've been there since 5 in the morning. And next thing I know, I'm landing on a bunch of tables because I was actually on the mess decks next to the galley when it went off. Lost 17 good people that day. I was one of the injured. And like I said, that day kind of changed my life forever because then I knew like what we were doing out there was actually real. You know, being out there, when you're just going through emotions, going through your drills, you know, it's like you're practicing for something that you don't think will ever come. And then when it comes, it's like a shock, like, oh wow, and then like all that training kicks right in. It becomes second nature. I went on, I didn't get out the military. I stayed in for another 6 years after the attack. And I would have to say that was the best decision ever in my life, was being in the military. The Navy taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of patience, taught me how to deal with conflict, how to lead people more importantly, and how to be a better person, not just for myself, but for everybody else. You know, I was pretty selfish before I joined the military, and then after I joined and everything happened, I realized it just wasn't about me. You know, I was making sure everyone else went to sleep safe at night. You know, they always said start with the lowest possible, so I just concentrated on my mom and my family and everybody I cared about, and then it just grew from there. I really didn't prepare anything to say, you know. But I am glad I'm here. Got a chance to talk to a couple of vets here. And I know the Lieutenant Colonel, talk to him for a quick second. If you're thinking about joining the military and you're young, really look into it, look into it and know what you're doing. It's a great opportunity. For me, it was the travel. I've been to 53 different countries in 10 years. I learned how to work on computer systems, and I have lifelong friends that even though we might not talk every single day, the moment we get back together, it's like we never left. So if the military is what you're thinking about doing, trust me, that's a brotherhood like no other. You know, no matter where I go, I know I have brothers and sisters there watching my back.
Thank you so very much. That's an experience that I'm sure he'll never forget. And what he just stated as far as joining the military, if you're thinking about doing that, that would be a great choice. At this time, who has the other microphone? Okay. I want to go around the room before we bring on our guest speaker, and I want each and every veteran to introduce themselves and please put their name, their branch of service. And I'm going to take a little roll so I can see who's who and how many we have.
Good afternoon, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rivieto. I spent my first 12 years in the United States Marine Corps. I've been in the United States Army the last 14 years. I'm an infantry officer, and I've been to a few places.
Eric, what branch of service?
I was in the Navy.
Okay. You just pass the mic around.
Hello, I am Specialist Tashina Hughes. I served in the U.S. Army in June 2005, all the way to 2012. I went from active duty to the National Guard. I deployed to Iraq in 2009 to 2010 with 287 Military Police Company.
Hardwood Air Harris. I was in the Marine Corps from 1966 to 1970.
I'm Robert Lee Farrow, United States Navy, 1943 to 1946 Submarine Division.
Floyd Morgan from the USAF, United States Air Force, 1952 to 1956. personnel in 25th Infantry, Vietnam, 68 to 70.
What branch of service?
Army.
My name is Specialist Michael W. Chandler, Sr. I served in Vietnam in 1967, 1968, and 1969 with the 1st Infantry Division and Fifth Group Special Forces.
I assume that's Army.
Army.
Thank you.
Darrell Homey, United States Army, 1967 to 1970, Germany and Vietnam in 1969.
Bill Bishop, United States Navy, 66 to 72, and now I'm reserved from 74 to 2003.
A lot of Navy people in here.
It's one unit never hear of. It's the Merchant Marine. They have acknowledged the Merchant Marine after 15 years after the war ended. And we brought the troops over there and brought a lot less back.
Jim Schultz, United States Marine Corps, 1962 to 1966, in Vietnam for 65 and 66. And unlike the Army, we celebrated our 240th birthday yesterday. You just had to say that, right?
Al Stockwood in the U.S. Navy, 57 through 59. It was a great honor and a great experience.
Hammond Darnell, United States Air Force, from 1965 to 1969. I went to Germany, was in Germany most of my service.
Right?
My name is T.T. Anderson. I served from 52 to 56 on active duty. I didn't get out until 1960 with honorable discharge. I was on a destroyer for 43 months. Went on a lot of cruises. It was a real experience. I don't regret any time out there, and I am very proud of what I did. And I had a son that went in the Navy for 16 years. I had 2 brothers that went to Vietnam, and they probably served. When 2 come home, one got himself straightened up, the other guy didn't do so good. They're both gone, and I miss them both. But I'm very proud of my service and my brothers both.
What branch of service? Navy?
Cecil, I really appreciate what you did, and I'm going to hang it up now.
Sir, what branch of service? What branch of service? Navy?
United States Navy.
Thank you.
For him, there's only one branch.
Robert Ketchum, United States Army, 62, 65, been to Korea, the Hawk missile.
Gary Holt, United States Navy, 1967 to 1990, 16 years serving with the Marine Corps as a combat independent duty corps.
My name is Patrick Falsey. I'm a retired Master Chief, 30 years in the Navy. After I retired, I got the honor and privilege of teaching ROTC, and just got to see some of my students perform today.
Did I miss anyone? Okay, Trustee Burrows.
Okay, well, Navy won it. Navy won it. Decisively, too. It wasn't close. They won it in the Army, then came the Marines, and then also the Air Force, and then one person from the Merchant Marines. That's impressive. I do like to say one thing about I think it was the last gentleman that said, no, well, anyway, he's an ex-trustee, Trustee Schultz. Could you please stand again? He was a trustee. He used to always let us know that he was a Marine, and he was proud of it. And we're proud of him. Okay, we're going to move along because I told everyone, I'm not going to keep you here long. I know you got other things to do, and but I really appreciate you, everyone coming out today. Our next speaker, well, this is going to take a little bit for me to give the accolades, but he deserves it. Has a very impressive resume of service to our nation. Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rebolivo, enlisted in the United States Marines in 1988 and was commissioned as second lieutenant in 1994. In 2001, then Captain transferred his commission and entered into the United States Army as an infantry captain assigned to the 1st Battalion, 184th Infantry Regiment. After commissioning Lieutenant Colonel, first assignment was a fire direction officer and platoon commander. He then served as an assistant operation officer aboard the USS Boxer. In 2005, he was selected to lead a detachment of soldiers assigned to military transition training team where he served as combat advisor to the 3rd Brigade, 7th Iraqi Infantry Division in Western Iraq. Shortly after, he redeployed to P.L.A.N, Iraq, where he oversaw operations for the protection of daily combat logistics patrols. Upon returning from his second Iraq tour, then Major was assigned as an executive officer of the 2nd Battalion, 151st Infantry Regiment after a 2-year assignment. In 2010, he was reassigned as staff officer within the 39th Division. In 2013, he was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel and assigned to the U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command. He also most recently completed a 1-year tour in Afghanistan. He is now assigned to the Department of Defense Consolidated Adjudication Facility, where he oversees processing of security clearances for the government, logistics supporting U.S. forces worldwide. Among his many awards and decorations, he has received a bronze medal with oak leaf cluster, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal with oak leaf cluster, Army Achievement Medal, Navy Achievement Medal, Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, Selective Marine Corps Reserve Medal, National Defense Service Medal with Bronze Star device, and many, many more that I cannot, we will be here all day. Lieutenant Colonel Rebo is currently stationed at Fort George Meade, Maryland, where he resides, though he resides in Indianapolis with his wife and 4 kids. He is a native of the South suburbs, graduated from Marion Catholic High School, and has still not forgotten his roots, and that's why you're here today. And I would like to present to you guys Lieutenant Colonel Rebo.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow veterans, I'm honored to have been asked to be here today as the keynote speaker and to give this address on Veterans Day. Mr. Burgess said I grew up here in the South suburbs, lived in what was formerly Park 4 South, then Hazel Crest, and finally Creek. Attended high school nearby, Marion Catholic in Chicago Heights. So although these last just want to say it's good to be home. But before we begin, let me first thank each and every one of you here in front of me today for being here to pay tribute to our veterans and to reflect on all their sacrifices which have made possible all that is America. Today's a day of tribute and reflection, but also, perhaps most importantly, today is a day of celebration. Today we celebrate the veteran whose service has kept us free for the last 240 years. Our understanding and commemoration of this holiday has evolved over the generations and over the course of our nation's wars. Veterans Day has its roots in what was first known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day was established as a national celebration of armistice, celebrating the agreement signed on November 11, 1918 at P.L.A.N, France. During the 1920s, this date was observed in a more solemn fashion with reflected performances by military bands in cities and military posts across America. Rather than a tribute to what our veterans accomplished for our nation, Armistice Day was a remembrance of those American service members who died in the First World War, the war known as the War to End All Wars because of its unprecedented destruction and casualties of over 38 million people, including over 126,000 U.S. military deaths and another 234,000 wounded. 97 years ago today, at 11 o'clock Western European time, on the 11th day of this 11th month, the guns fell silent and the carnage of over 4 years of fighting came to an end. But less than 20 years after the first armistice observation, America and the rest of the world found itself again entangled in a world war. While this holiday was originally a remembrance of the silencing of the Great War's cannons and those that died in that war, the scope of our observance has changed over the last 97 years. In 1945, the Second World War came to an end, and then close to 500,000 Americans had lost their lives. Yet another 16 million American veterans returned home as heroes. As such, Armistice Day was expanded to include veterans of both world wars, and the day became a day to acknowledge the veteran, and then allowed what was at that time the 70-year-old tradition of Memorial Day to differentiate a day for the fallen. After World War II, remembrances became less solemn, with annual local parades and a more festive atmosphere across our nation. Armistice Day had evolved to a celebration of the American success on the battlefield. As America entered the 1950s, World War II was still fresh in Americans' collective minds. But with American prosperity on the rise and the modern era now in full swing, many people failed to fully understand that America, along with 24 other nations, were fighting a new war on the Korean Peninsula. This would be the first of a number of conflicts where communism and the West went head to head. We know that the service members that fought in this conflict did so valiantly and faced the same horrors as their World War I and World War II counterparts. Yet their sacrifices went largely ignored as the Korean conflict became quietly referred to as the Forgotten War. Yet shortly after the end of the Korean conflict in 1954, today's celebration and dedication officially was changed to what it is today, Veterans Day. And it became a day to recognize all American veterans from the time of the War of Independence from England through the Korean War as it had at that time. A decade after the renaming of today's holiday, America again found itself entangled in another Asian peninsula, once again fighting communist forces, this time in Vietnam. Our Vietnam veterans, some of who are here with us today, served in combat during a troubled time for our nation. Those soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines returned from a war to a country divided. Sadly, in many parts of our nation, Veterans Day during the Vietnam War often featured argument and protest. Today, thankfully, we're able to recognize the heroic self-sacrifice of all veterans. And as a nation, we now recognize that the circumstances in which they fought are not nearly as important as their selfless service to our nation. I wish I could simply acknowledge those that went before my generation for their service and their sacrifices. But Vietnam was not the end of conflict for our nation. In 1991, I was a sophomore in college, attending Eastern Illinois University downstate. At the time, I was also a member of the United States Marine Corps Reserve. I'll never forget returning back from Christmas break to hear a message on my answering machine, back before we had cell phones. The message was from the sergeant, and he told me to report to the Reserve Center in Joliet, Illinois the following week, as we had been ordered to mobilize for Desert Storm. And although during my next 5 months of active service, I was fortunate not to see combat, many of my peers did. After a 3-month air campaign, followed by 4 days of ground fighting, America and her allies emerged victorious over the Iraqi forces, and our nation welcomed home a new generation of veterans. Later that same decade, myself and other veterans, some here again today, served around the world enforcing a sometimes tenacious peace in some places like the Balkans, other places in and around the Middle East. This time I was a lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, and twice I participated in peacekeeping operations along the Iraq-Kuwait border and other nations near and around the Middle East. In 2001, America suffered the worst attack on our nation since Pearl Harbor. America's response was swift, and U.S. forces soon found themselves in Afghanistan fighting Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, who gave them safe haven in their nation. But even as some forces battled the Taliban in Central Asia, some others soon find themselves headed back to the Middle East to once again confront a massive Iraqi army led by the dictator Saddam Hussein of Turkey. After almost 14 years, American forces remained in battle in both of these troublesome nations, still trying to bring normalcy and peace to 2 areas of the world that have been entrenched in conflict for millennia. As for the veterans of all conflicts, there is common experience shared by all. Combat can be surmised by days of boredom, followed by hours of horrors. And this cycle continues through your entire tour, be it 4 months, 6 months, 9 months a year, or for some even longer. Some things, though, have changed. And foremost, the numbers of American veterans by percentage of the population significantly decreased. Even as our population grows, our military forces shrink service-wide. In World War II, over 10% of the population served. Today, less than 2 in 100 Americans will don the uniform in service to their nation. In our nation's urban centers, those that serve even less account for about 1%. Years ago, everyone had someone in their family that served. Today, there's a disconnect between those in service and those that are served. As the majority of Americans, though they may appreciate the veteran, they cannot say that they have a veteran in their family. But something else has changed over the generations, and that's the advancement in medicine. This has had a profound effect, both positive and negative, in some regard to today's veterans. In World War II, there were a number of individual battles that resulted in several thousand casualties. In less than 4 years of that war, 300,000 service members were killed, 100,000 more wounded. In the 10-plus years of fighting in Vietnam, some 50,000 would be killed in action. But in almost 14 years of sustained fighting between Iraq and Afghanistan, less than 6,000 men and women have lost their lives. Now, each one of these lives lost represents a shattered dream. But in perspective, with past generations, combat deaths have been relatively low. And that's the reason for the reduced deaths can be contributed to the improved equipment provided to our troops. But today's medicine plays a large part as well. Battlefield treatment and the speed to which the wounded can be evacuated to a surgical center have spared the lives of tens of thousands who in past wars would not have survived the battlefield. And so many of our veterans from the current war on terror have returned home with battle scars and injuries that will now keep them for the rest of their lives. There are many who have returned home missing a limb or multiple limbs. Now, advancement in prosthetics has given many of today's veterans a chance of living a semi-normal life. But there are other wounds that are not so easily treated. Traumatic brain injuries sustained from surviving explosions and a high number of veterans diagnosed with post-traumatic stress have resulted in unprecedented numbers of veterans suffering from sustained mental illness. The Veterans Administration is charged with treating these wounded warriors is not able to properly care for many of our veterans. So as we wait for much needed reform within the veterans' health care system, many veterans live with untreated mental scars. In some circles, this has become a stigma, and a large number of employers have opted to not hire veterans, presumably because of the stigma. As such, the number of veterans unemployed almost doubles the rate of non-veterans of the same age groups. This is a travesty, considering that the veteran brings a high number of things to the job market, including integrity, inherent sense of teamwork, and mission accomplishment. The veteran has real-world work experience, usually in situations much more difficult than any parallel civilian career. Yet, even with government incentives to hire veterans, their unemployment rate remains high. Many of these veterans end up on the street and then slip into further despair. Even though the last 14 years of war have resulted in a low casualty count, today's returned veterans are dying by their own hand at a staggering 22 men and women each day. This is an issue that should concern all of us, and something we have to change. It's just an unacceptable statistic. So often, people that recognize me as a soldier, they tell me, say, thank you for your service. And though these strangers feel like they're making a difference, really, truly they're not. If people want to thank veterans for their service, they can do so in a number of really meaningful ways. Things that will really make a difference. Employers can commit to hiring veterans, government leaders, and help fix the broken healthcare system so that veterans can continue to receive the care they need. And citizens, consider making a charitable donation to the Disabled American Veterans, Wounded Warrior Project, AMVETS, any other veteran organization. And if you aren't able to contribute financially, consider volunteering at a veterans event in your community. But just imagine the positive change we could make if more than 98% of American citizens showed a purposeful support to our American veterans. President Dwight Eisenhower said, "I hate war as only a soldier who has lived it can, as one who has seen its brutality, its futility, and its stupidity." Yet, until nations can achieve diplomacy by other means, war will always be the final course of action the country will take to affect their national interests. Plato said this 2.5 centuries ago, only the dead have seen the end of war. So as long as our nation fights conflicts, we will have veterans, and those veterans will all be worthy of our admiration. Veterans Day has become less quiet and more grand, part reflection, part celebration. This is certainly appropriate, for Veterans Day is a celebration of all that they have done for so many. Today, we will recognize the veterans of all our nation's wars: World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan. All share the same blood, the same sacrifice. Whether they wore the uniform of soldier, sailor, an airman, a Marine, Coast Guardsman, whether they fought in the skies over Europe, the jungles of the Pacific, the hills of Korea, the rice paddies of Vietnam, the deserts of Iraq, or the mountains of Afghanistan. These men and women share the same bond, Today's their day. Shared with our pre-armistice forefathers who fought in the American Revolution, the Mexican-American War, the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, and over 100 other conflicts over the past 239 years. So as I conclude, I turn to the veterans here present today, and I ask you all, please stand. These brave men and women represent not only themselves, but all our living veterans. These are our citizens, those who have missed the birth of their child, their best friend's wedding. They spent Christmas and Easter in a foxhole, a bunker, manning a cannon, wishing they could be home. They've endured cold nights on top of mountains, in the darkness of the night, perhaps tied to the rail of a warship in the middle of the ocean. They have all sacrificed something so the rest of us can be free. And lest we forget, let's remember those who are deployed today in service of our country. And let's remember those who, because they paid the ultimate sacrifice, cannot be with us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for our veterans, for our American people. Ladies and gentlemen, seated. So I'll turn this back over to Mr. Curtis, and then we'll go celebrate Veterans Day and whatever reason we have.
Thank you so very much. Okay, now comes the part that I look forward to every year. Last year we gave out flags to the veterans. This year we're going to give out flag pins, lapel pins. And as I call your names, please come up because we're going to do two things at once. We're going to have you stand here so we can take a group picture, and also I want to present you with your pin. So that's why you guys at the end, when you came in, you filled out this sign-in sheet. And as you hear your name, please come up, and I will present you with the pen. First person, Eamon Darnell. Mr. Schultz, Jim Schultz, I saw him leave. William Bishop. Okay, Mr. Staufragan, Al Staufragan. Preston Allen. Thomas Amston. What? Oh. Stanley okay, Stanley. Stanley here? Okay, his last name is spelled Witulski. Okay. Harold Ayers. Howard Ayers. I don't know why I said Harold. Howard. Mr. Ayers. Mr. Robert Ketchum. Robert Farrell. Daryl Conley. Floyd Morgan. Michael Chandler Sr. Fahisha Hughes. I'm sorry. Sheena? I went to Catholic school. Kevin Sullivan. Oh, that must be your son, okay. And Armando Lupian. And I guess this is his wife. And also Eric and Lieutenant Colonel, please come up. And I think I saw someone come in late. And yeah, you guys are going to be a great picture. There's a gentleman in the back, sir, who? Oh yeah, don't worry, we're going to get him. There's a gentleman in the back. Did you fill out one, Mr. Holcomb? Oh, that's why he didn't get called. Would you please come up? Oh, you didn't fill out one? Okay. That's why we filled out one. And also, gentlemen in the back, I see you, I know you're a veteran because you're highly decorated. Would you please come?
No, he's with the ROTC. Bob Barnes.
Why does he have a different uniform on? Okay, but is there any other veterans that are here? Yes, I don't know why Lieutenant Colonel Tate, but Lieutenant Colonel Tate, please come up. Where's the other Lieutenant Colonel? Would you please direct him to come up? He's got no right. Okay, can you guys get in the photographers? Please get the lady that was, and she's the only lady, please get her. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your veterans.
That's perfect, guys.
Please give them a round of applause. Okay, everyone, thank you. You will see this again. You saw the one that's in the...
Now, guys, before you move, I want to get the junior ROTC in there with you.
Oh, yes.
So.
Ready to turn the camera on?
Really? Seriously?
If you would get in there, front with them, take a knee if you guys are tall. Yeah, all you guys take a knee. There you go. Oh, that's beautiful.
Pants are so tight.
Really lower. All right. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Did you get a pen? Did you get a pen? Tell Jerry. I will.
Oh, you didn't make it up. That's okay. Congratulations anyway. Thank you, sir.
I want to make sure I got that.
Before we close, I'd just like to say, on behalf of Sauk Village, and on behalf of myself, I never served. I really appreciate you guys, you veterans that made our country safe, kept us out of harm's way. We never had unless, well, Pearl Harbor, if you want to call that, but we never had a war on our soil. And I'm so glad and proud and grateful that you guys took the time out of your lives to volunteer. Some of you may have been drafted, but anyway, you still served, you came back. And Lieutenant Colonel's his remarks were right on, because we need to support our veterans that we have here. You know, a lot of people have spent a lot of times. I was in the Vietnam era, even though I didn't serve, but the ones that did serve, and then from then on, they more or less discounted Vietnam War for whatever reason, because they felt we lost it, but we didn't lose it. We're still here, but they gave their time, their life, their talent to fight that war on our behalf. And for them to come back and not have a job, not have decent benefits and health care, it's a shame. And we should, as a nation, back our veterans. We back a lot of other things that are meaningless. Our veterans actually took their lives and put it on the line to save ours. So I'm hoping that today, if you don't have a chance to talk to the veterans, the ones that are not veterans, and as he stated, ask them what they can do, volunteer for veterans programs, and give to the disabled vets. We give everything else, give to the ones that are living, the ones that actually went out there and sacrificed. Okay, at this time, I guess we're going to, does anyone, first of all, I always ask this question, does anyone have anything to say? Okay, you do? Okay. Lieutenant, oh, I'm sorry, before we, I have a raffle. I forgot about that. Does everyone have their tickets? The tickets are twofold. Veterans have tickets. The veterans, okay, this is for veterans. You guys out there. But anyway, if you have the tickets, we have two prizes that we're going to give out to the veterans. And just let me know, because you're going to need that ticket when you go to Popeye. So just bring it up, let me see it, and then you will be able to get this. Can I get someone to come up and pull the tickets? Like we would normal, just one person. Oh, Father, no, it's going to be right. Okay, last three digits, 074. Okay. No, you keep that. And then I want you to pull the next ticket. Oh, 66. 066. No 066. Hope that wasn't Jim Jones. He's gone. He's the only one I saw left. One more time, Father. You don't have to stay. He didn't get a ticket, you guys. Don't worry about it. 073. Oh, great. You keep that. You're going to need that. And as I stated, when we get through here, does everyone here know where Popeyes is located? If not, please raise your hand. I can get you, let you know. Okay, guys, when we get through here, they'll be waiting for you at Popeyes. You present your ticket, you will get a meal. So just, I'll be there, and I'm sure everyone, most people here now, the ones that are not a veteran, and chicken and biscuit. But please come out, and if you have a chance, come talk, and not just, just come out and talk to your veterans, or you can talk in here, but the reason why I want them to leave, because we have everything set up there, chicken is warm, and everything, so we're trying to move it on and get everyone there so the chicken can be pretty warm. At this time, I'd like to turn it back over to my friend and trustee, just temporary. You heard it.
Okay,
You have a hand up back here.
yes.
Thank you, Trustee Burgess and Trustee Tate. Trustee Burgess had asked if anyone had anything to say. I had raised my hand, but he put on the raffle. It would be remiss of me not to stand and thank the veterans that are here today. I do see some elected officials in the room. The mayor is here, Mayor Hanks. I see village clerk is here. Can you stand, Mayor Hanks? Okay, I wasn't here for that, but I just want to say on behalf of the elected officials that we do appreciate the veterans as well. My father was in the my father was a veteran. I have family members that were veterans, and I just appreciate all the hard work. And you know that more than anything else, that prayer took you there and prayer brought you back. God bless you.
Is everyone, because I was just asking, is everyone that has tickets, are you going to Popeye so they can kind of get to know how much chicken to start? I'll put it this way, anyone not going to Popeye? Is everybody okay? Thank you.
Okay, tell the veterans, mine's color-coded, but it's a black and white copies of this that you should have picked up when you came in. Has a lot of information. We owe this document to the Housing Commissioner, Gary Holden. Could you just stand or wave your hand or something? He compiled this and provided it so that we can have, but take a look at this, a lot of good information in here. For me, if everyone's heard of Hines Hospital, but heard that there's a little controversy going on at Hines right now, and I'm involved in it for one veteran that's involved in the conflict out there about the non-receipt of services. So best if you have a problem getting medical care, Hines or anywhere else, reach out and touch someone. Trustee Burgess, it's yours. If you don't have this, make sure you pick it up before you leave.
Okay, we're going to have the ROT. Well, I'm not sure. I would like to have the benediction be the last thing. So if we have, are we going to retire the culture? You did that already. Everything is done with the ROTC? Okay, great. At this time, I'm going to bring up Reverend Associate Pastor of St. James, Father Dave Simonetti, for closing benediction.
Please stand. Benediction comes from the Latin benedictio, which means one who blesses. Heavenly Father, you care for all you have created. Set your mighty angels, Saint Michael, the archangels, the guardian angels, who care and guard, keep safe your holy people. And you give certain individuals the gift of courage, dedication, sense of communion to protect your people. While we still sojourn in this chaotic and dangerous world, they protect us, and we ask you to bless them and their loved ones until we see the holy city coming down from the heavenly Jerusalem upon us, where there will be no more chaos or war, cries, tears, and death is conquered forever. In your holy name we ask you. Amen. Amen.
This concludes our program. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We will have another one next year. Like I stated, the veterans and the families to Popeyes, the very